He knows it's a dream, something brought on by no more than Slightman's chance remark, and yet he can't escape it. Always look for the back door, Court used to tell them, but if there's a back door in this dream, Roland cannot find it. I heard of Jericho Hill and such blood-and-thunder tales of pretend. That was what Eisenhardt's foreman had said, only Jericho Hill had seemed real enough to Roland. Why would it not? He had been there. It had been the end of them, the end of a whole world. The day is suffocatingly hot. The sun reaches its roof peak and then seems to stay there, as if the hours have been suspended. Below them is a long, sloping field filled with great gray-black stone faces, eroded statues left by people who are long gone, and Grissom's men advance relentlessly among them as Roland and his final few companions withdraw ever upward, shooting as they go. The gunfire is constant, unending, the sound of bullets whining off the stone faces, a shrill counterpoint that sinks into their heads like the bloodthirsty whine of mosquitoes. Jamie de Curry has been killed by a sniper, perhaps Grissom's eagle-eyed son, or Grissom himself. With Alain the end was far worse. He was shot in the dark the night before the final battle by his two best friends, a stupid error, a horrible death. There was no help. De Mullet's column was ambushed and slaughtered at Rimrocks, and when Alain rode back after midnight to tell them, Roland and Cuthbert, the sound of their guns, and oh, when Alain cried out their names. And now they're at the top, and there's nowhere left to run. Behind them to the east is a shale, crumbly drop to the salt, what 500 miles south of here is called the Clean Sea. To the west is the hill of the stone faces and Grissom's screaming, advancing men. Roland and his own men have killed hundreds, but there are still 2,000 left, and that's a conservative estimate. 2,000 men, their howling faces painted blue, some armed with guns, and even a few with bolts, against a dozen. That's all that's left of them now, here at the top of Jericho Hill, under the burning sky. Jamie dead, Alain dead under the guns of his best friends, stolid, dependable Alain, who could have ridden on to safety but chose not to. And Cuthbert has been shot. How many times? 5, 6? His shirt is soaked crimson to his skin. One side of his face has been drowned in blood. The eye on that side bulges sightlessly on his cheek. Yet he still has Roland's horn, the one which was blown by Arthur Eld, or so the stories did say. He will not give it back. "For I blow it sweeter than you ever did," he tells Roland, laughing. "You can have it again when I'm dead. Neglect not to pluck it up, Roland, for it's your property." Cuthbert Allgood, who had once ridden into the barony of Magus with a rook's skull mounted on the pommel of his saddle. The lookout, he had called it, and talked to it, just as though it were alive, for such was his fancy, and sometimes he drove Roland half mad with his foolishness. And here he is, under the burning sun, staggering toward him with a smoking revolver in one hand and Eld's horn in the other, blood-bolted and half-blinded and dying, but still laughing. Ah, dear gods, laughing and laughing. "Roland," he cries, "we've been betrayed. We're outnumbered. Our backs are to the sea. We've got 'em right where we want 'em. Shall we charge?" And Roland understands he is right. If their quest for the Dark Tower is really to end here on Jericho Hill, betrayed by one of their own and then overwhelmed by this barbaric remnant of John Farson's army, then let it end splendidly. "Aye," he shouts, "aye, very well. Ye of the castle, to me. Gunslingers, to me, I say." "As for gunslingers, Roland," Cuthbert says, "I am here, and we are the last." Roland first looks at him, then embraces him under that hideous sky. He can feel Cuthbert's burning body, its suicidal, trembling thinness. And yet he's laughing. Bert is still laughing. "All right," Roland says hoarsely, looking around at his few remaining men. "We're going into them, and we'll accept no quarter." "Nope, no quarter, absolutely none," Cuthbert says. "We will not accept their surrender if offered." "Under no circumstances," Cuthbert agrees, laughing harder than ever. "Not even should all 2,000 lay down their arms." "Then blow that fucking horn." Cuthbert raises the horn to his bloody lips, and blows a great blast, the final blast, for when it drops from his fingers a minute later, or perhaps it's 5 or 10, time has no meaning in that final battle, Roland will let it lie in the dust. In his grief and bloodlust, he will forget all about Eld's horn. And now, my friends, Heil! Heil! The last dozen cry beneath that blazing sun. It is the end of them, the end of Gilead, the end of everything. And he no longer cares. The old red fury, dry and maddening, is settling over his mind, drowning all thought. One last time, then, he thinks, let it be so. "To me!" cries Roland of Gilead. "Forward for the tower!" "The tower!" Cuthbert cries out beside him, reeling. He holds Eld's horn up to the sky in one hand, his revolver in the other. "No prisoners!" Roland screams. "No prisoners!" They rush forward and down toward Grissom's blue-faced horde, he and Cuthbert in the lead, and as they pass the first of the great gray-black faces leaning in the high grass, spears and bolts and bullets flying all around them, the chimes begin. It is a melody far beyond beautiful. It threatens to tear him to pieces with its stark loveliness. Not now, he thinks. Ah, gods, not now. Let me finish it. Let me finish it with my friend at my side, and have peace at last. Please. He reaches for Cuthbert's hand. For one moment he feels the touch of his friend's blood-sticky fingers there on Jericho Hill, where his brave and laughing existence was snuffed out, and then the fingers touching his are gone. Or rather, his have melted clean through Bert's. He is falling, the world is darkening, he is falling, the chimes are playing, the kamen are playing. Sounds Hawaiian, doesn't it? And he is falling. Jericho Hill is gone, Eld's horn is gone, there's darkness and red letters in the darkness, some are great letters, enough so he can read what they say. The words say, they said, "Don't walk."